Welcome back to our latest episode of Mindful Matters podcast. It is a pleasure to have you. It's good to have you back again. It's good to be back. I am Oresztesz Murgacs, one of your co-hosts, and I am very happy to be here and to share with you some ideas that we have about how to make your life better, more efficient, feel better, feel more energized, feel more focused, and just better in every way. And I am here today with my amazing co-host, Richard Haggerty, coach of coaches, awesome coach, great teacher, awesome friend, and a great co-host. Richard, welcome. Good to have you.
Oh, thank you, Oresztesz. Thank you for that very kind welcome. And look, for anyone listening, if you're not already, please make sure you subscribe to Less Anxiety today and follow what Oresztesz and I are putting out here and what the videos that Oresztesz are putting on as well, because there is some great information and you will not go wrong with the information and the guidance that Oresztesz has given you. He's got a ton of great stuff, wonderful experience, and I am, as ever, thrilled to be here, and I'm looking forward to this all day. So, yeah, it's really nice. It just feels like there are so many ways in which you can change and develop and move, enhance your life by making shifts inside. That I think the more people realize that, the more people see how they can get started with that. I think the more happiness and fulfillment, the more, should we say, success that we're going to see. So it's a really lovely time to be alive in that regard.
Absolutely, absolutely. I had a very interesting conversation with one of the students the other day. Um, he was telling me a story about he was a little bit stuck in trying to help a person improve their physical health. He was practicing a technique that we use in our coaching, which is changing and improving beliefs, helping people through shaping the beliefs that are limiting them, that are holding them back. And he had a question about that. And it's a very interesting situation because the situation he was describing is about a person that feels that it's very, very um, it's selfish to take care of her own person. So basically, she ends up stretching herself way too thin, working, helping others, helping out, and he wanted to know, how do I challenge this belief? How do I help this person? How do I make her be better? And you're smiling there. I noticed that you already have some ideas that are relevant here. So the concept here, we were trying to, I obviously, as I always do, to be able to help someone, I needed to ask a lot of questions. Okay, so tell me a little bit about the situation. What is actually going on? Well, she is like this, she's like that. She helps this person, she helps this other person. Then when she begins to break down, she comes to see me, so I fix her up a little bit mentally, a bit of physiological help for parts of her body that are beginning to feel the strain of overwork and just really stretching her own self to the limits. Then then came a point like, okay, well, is this yeah, so what happens? Try the challenge. What happens if what happens if you break down completely? And that's when the whole situation just actually cleared in my mind, because the answer to that was, well, that's awesome. Then I don't have to. Then I don't have to take care of everyone.
Right?
And I'm like, you, who has a problem here? I asked him.
Mhm.
Who has a problem here? Do you have a problem, or does she have a problem? She seems to be fine. She seems to have just this really nice little ecosystem where she basically spends herself completely until she helps others. When she gets close to the limit, you come in and you help her mentally, physically, so she can stretch a little bit further. And when she completely breaks down, then she's just free. She doesn't have to do anything until she recovers, and then she can start the whole thing again. Like, who has a
Mhm.
problem here?
very interesting, Resties. It is really fascinating because people do. I've noticed people have lots of different types of cycles and ways of approaching life, and it is very. It can be quite challenging sometimes to to have the empathy and self-awareness to realize that other people see the world and experience it completely differently to you. It's interesting what you're mentioning there because I'm going to be presenting for 2 days at an exhibition in the UK soon for warehousing and logistics, and I'm really looking forward to it. And the thing is, I was thinking, how can I let those people know? How can I let them that know what I'm doing in a very kind of in a way that is meaningful? And I just said to them, and for the first promotional video I've done with the company who's hosting, I said, look, if you're interested in avoiding burnout or managing stress or creative solutions to build your business, come and give me a call. Now, the thing is that, well, come and meet me, come and have a chat. And one of the things is that if somebody wants that, if they were the kind of person who wants to avoid getting to that point and manage those things, then that's great. And not everybody's going to want to do that. But we have, which is very interesting, we're the first ever kind of like area, a specific area in this event for well-being. So we're hoping that that's going to be of real great interest to people. But you're right, we have, look,
Nice.
it is very interesting.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, it's good. We're really looking forward to it. I think it's a good opportunity to help other people with mindful matters. And at the same time, it's really important to just remember, I always have in my mind that what are we doing? We're helping people be free inside their own minds to make better choices, have new choices, be free from stuck thoughts. And honestly, unless they identify it as a specific problem that they want to change, then it's not really a problem, and on one level at least. So I really like I really like that there, and I think also
Yeah,
as well, just for our listeners, it can be very useful to have this in mind in our day-to-day lives as well, just to let other people be. And if they ask for some help, then that's the time. That's the time and the motivation. That's when you can get into action.
right. Now, of course, there is a way in which you can help someone like this. And that is once you recognize, once you notice everything that is going on, then you can point out the entire cycle.
Yeah.
Like, so it's not so much, okay, what happens if you break down? Because that seems to be already part of the she might think that this is a reality that these are all of these are all the
Mhm.
possibilities. This
Mhm.
is the best that she can do. She can do as much as possible, not feel selfish,
Yep.
and then once she is bad enough and completely broken down, then it's also time, and then her body will let her know, okay, yeah, this is the limit. Here you go. So nobody else for a few weeks or whatever, however long it takes, and now you take care of yourself. And you can describe this whole cycle to someone. Sometimes they are not aware of how deeply they have fallen into this situation, or they don't
Mhm.
recognize that they have
Yep.
created this cycle. So you can point out to the person. So it seems like this is happening, and then that's happening, and this is how you respond, and then this is what happens, and this is the whole thing. Are you happy with doing things this way? Is this, if you were to construct your own experience, is this how you would like things to be? Then, if they straight up say, yes, this works for me, well, then, if you can't stand looking at someone destroying their life like this, it's time for you to take a step back. If you can, then just be happy knowing that they are happy. Recognize that they are aware of what they're doing and this is what they choose. Uh,
Yep.
More likely, though, is that they will say, yeah, I wish things were a little bit different. Then then you have the first drop of willingness to change, willingness to examine the situation, a willingness to look at the things that keep the ecosystem in place, the beliefs that say that it is selfish to take care of myself before I break down. Then you can start working with the beliefs. Then you can start challenging kindly. Then you can figure out why that is, what's good about those beliefs, what are the things that you want to conserve, and what are the things that you would like to improve. And then you can shift and keep the best things of your ecosystem or their ecosystem of problem, keep the best things, keep the things that are working, and then improve the thing and take it to a next level where it's just that much healthier, that much more long term, that much more sustainable, and everything works better.
Very nice. Well, I like that. I like the idea there, Oresztesz, of giving a summary and then, letting somebody have a bit of perspective. I think that can be okay when it's done in the right way, when it's when you do that in a very kind of gentle, sort of kind and interested and compassionate way. And then, let them tell. Now, this is kind of assuming, I guess, should we say that people have coming to us for coaching or for hypnosis or something, because in those contexts, if they come to us, then there's definitely it's going to be a little bit easier to offer those kind of that kind of summary. But it is something that you can use in your day-to-day life, because as long as the person is telling you and you are there with them and showing kindness and really listening. The beauty about doing a little summary like Oresztesz is, like you've just mentioned, is that, well, it can be quite interesting sometimes to zoom back and there's a very good feeling that you get when you have an insight into your own behavior or into your own mind. And actually at that point, there's a lot of science around this. Is a very good sort of moment of empathy, of feeling listened to, of feeling heard. And that can be an ideal, exactly like you say, an ideal segue into, well, look, do you want to, would you be interested in exploring this further? It doesn't even have to, you don't even have to say that this is a really bad problem. We need to fix this. You just be like, it seems like
You are
something's
really
going on
screwed.
here.
This is
It
terrible.
seems like there's a pattern that goes on here, and you get to this point where you get absolutely exhausted, and then you're kind of burnt out for a bit. How do you feel about that? Is that something you'd be interested in exploring? Maybe
Right,
maybe
right.
there's a way in which you can contribute more by taking care of yourself better. I mean, what if, and exactly like you say, if somebody realized, what if you could take care of other people better by taking care of yourself? Because then you're a model for them. Then you can really start digging in. So I think that's really lovely, Oresztesz, and I think that's, of late I've been spending a lot of time with with a few people who've built up very, very successful businesses, some in person, some who I've been just reading about, but also some who I know personally. And their mindset really revolves around the beliefs that they have. And in some cases, they've consciously chosen to modify that over a period of time. And in other cases, they just have an absence of doubt, and they look for evidence everywhere that they're moving in the right direction, the direction they want to go in. But to get to that point, all of those people have been at a certain point where they've looked at their life and realized that it wasn't quite the way they wanted, and used that as a kind of a reference point. They've almost had the perspective that you're talking about, that they've kind of spontaneously had, of seeing the way things are going and saying, okay, I can see I'm doing this, and it keeps getting this result. I want it to be better. I want it to be different. And from there, they've been able to extend and been able to transform.
Right, right, right. And most likely, Most likely, the way, unless you recognize yourself in this description, then I hope this episode is going to be your excuse to just consider that there may be a better way of dealing with recurring situations.
Mm.
If you recognize this as someone else being stuck in a loop, maybe specifically this kind of helping others loop, or any kind of a loop where a person seems to find themselves in the same kind of problem over and over. It's very common in relationships. I keep getting into this same kind of relationship. This is the third time that this happens to me. Uh, this is the third guy that does this to me. This is just, I guess, the kind of women I end up with, right? These could be another way of hearing the same structure, the same recurring kind of problem, and most likely what you will find is that the person isn't very satisfied with one part of their cycle. They don't like this section when I don't know, in the helping others and breaking to the point of breaking down example, it would be I don't like it when I start breaking down, but I don't yet feel justified to send everyone away and just rest. This will be the section where they are unhappy with. In fact, this person sounded pretty happy with breaking down and then just being able to kind of take a bit of a vacation and not have to take care of everyone else. So you will usually hear or you notice yourself about complaining about one part, but then the rest of the story kind of continues and the rest of the cycle just continues to go on. This is the good time to notice. You can either point out the entire cycle to the other person and suggest that, hey, there may be a better way of being, there may be a better way of doing things, but make sure that you're not challenging harshly. You are not being negative about your recognition, because that's the most common thing. It's like, oh, you are just so this and this and that. You always create your own problems. You always do that. That's a very difficult way to inspire someone to examine themselves with kindness and actual awareness. If there is an implication that they're doing things wrong, then they will have a tendency to reject the suggestion that you're making to them that there is a problem, and they will probably reject you on a certain level if you're being a little bit too pushy about it. So the best way that you can do this is just try to be genuinely kindly interested. Like, okay, well, it seems to be happening all the time. I mean, what are the things that happen that make this more likely to happen? Have you noticed anything that happens before this problem that you don't like and it repeats itself? Is there something that you recognize before that? Those are the things in which you can, even if you know the answer, where you can guide the other person to understand their situation. What is it that is happening for them? What is it that they are creating? What are the things that they are nurturing so that these problems end up repeating themselves?
Beautiful. I think that's lovely, Oresztesz, and I think that is a perfect sort of note for people to take away, which is to really be clear. You know, if you bring that compassion and that attention to the person who you're with, and you sort of present any suggestion tentatively with a, you know, with a kind of curiosity, and inviting them to comment on that, to see what, you know, to see if they think that makes sense, then that's fine. People will, in my experience, people really enjoy that, and they'll either correct you, or they'll be inspired. You know, they'll be inspired by that and contemplate it. And then, you know, even if they don't at that particular point want to do anything about it, it will give them it'll give them food for thought. You know, I have a friend who is a business owner, and quite often, you know, he phones me up to tell me things that are going on, and sometimes I'll say, like exactly you mentioned today, oh, I noticed this is happening, and or he'll say, you know, this has happened, and I'll say, oh, okay, I noticed. So you've had that happen a few times of late. How's, you know, how are you doing? You know, and he'll often just say, oh, you know, you really got me thinking about something there. He said, he said, that's really great. That's what I needed today. I'm going to take that away and think about it. And that's all and sometimes it can be the smallest thing, but once it's there and they've got it, then let them have the time to do that. You know, you don't need to do everything at once. Just one insight like that can be enough really to create a huge amount of momentum for the other person. Um, so just being there and just being aware of that can allow you to be very kindly and in a very few moments leave people in a much better state than when you found them. And I think that that's kind of my golden rule for interacting with people. It's rare that when you're interacting with somebody, everyone's just the same afterwards. Try and leave everyone a little bit better off, and everyone benefits.
Ah, what a nice way to go through your day. It's kind of tough sometimes, you know, you don't want to be the psychologist and what is happening there, right? Just, you
Hmm.
know, make sure that you don't end up being that all the time, but in a way that Richard describes it, where you just notice things and you are present with kindness constantly. Uh, it's just a fantastic situation. Just recently, I was doing a presentation at a local branch of a big international company, and it was really interesting. I created a course for them about how to improve communication, how to have better communication. I was working with the project leaders of the local branch, and they would, because they are more responsible for long-term development, for long-term projects. They are the ones that need to keep pushing the workers and the managers to also invest time. Aside from resolving the current problems, they also need to invest time and energy into improving things on the long run. So they end up being a little bit like, you know, mom and dad just, hey, just clean your room when, you know, when what you need to focus on is your homework for today, and longer term things. So it was really interesting because I did end up inspiring a few of them also to see me in individual therapy sessions to improve as people. And and the number of them mentioned just how they had this sensation of yeah, you know what, I feel like I can trust, I feel like I can dare to think that I can be more. And then I pointed it out to them. Yeah, you know what, every time when I am throughout all of the hours in the course, I was yelling at your unconscious without words, you are capable. You can do this. You can have efficient communication. You can be a powerful person. You can respect the other person, but don't have to be pushed around by them. You can recognize what is going on in the other person and yet find the way in which you can collaborate and find the shared goals and things that will help you. I was constantly transmitting that to you in every question and every moment when you were talking. I never thought that you cannot learn something. So that's why you had the sensation that, hey, may be more to me. Maybe I can do some things. And there is this guy talking about techniques, but at the same time, I feel like, hey, I can probably do better. I can do these things. And this is what I'm telling you. I never doubt your ability to achieve the things that are humanly achievable, and you dedicate time to them.
Nice, very good. Well, Oresztesz, now I feel like booking a session with you now. So there we go. So thank you. Great job, and I'm sure it's great for our listeners as well. That that once you start to realize one of the benefits, benefits of listening to what we're doing here, hopefully, is that you eventually at a certain level things sink in so deeply that you suddenly start realizing, you know what, yeah, I can go for those other things. And that's when it really happened. I'll do one quick thing, just 20 seconds. This lady I know who has become a millionaire, multi-millionaire, selling books and with multiple businesses. One of the nicest people you ever meet, nice relationships. All her books she started selling to help a local charity. So she just sold it under a pen name just to help the charity. And she made a lot of money for them, just gives it all away. But her thing was she started off by spending a month not complaining. Then in a second month, she started keeping a gratitude journal. And then all she does now, which I just absolutely love, is she will have that goal, a general goal that she wants, like to do something with business or some holiday, or whether it's losing weight or being fitter. And she does every day. She will pick something that's happening and go, this is happening. I wonder how this means that I'm moving in the direction I'm going in. She might look in the mirror and go, I've seen smiling today. Must mean I'm losing a little bit of weight. And she doesn't mind, however, should we say, far-fetched the link is in the beginning. She uses everything as evidence that she's moving in the direction she wants to go in. And she says that the essence of magic, if you will, is just belief. And so she builds that. She's building what we would call a confirmation bias every day, step by step. And it's so beautiful to see. And it just works in the things that she's doing. And Oresztesz, she does that with people as well. She says, you know what, whoever I'm with, I'm only going to see the best in them. And let me tell you, she is an amazing coach and she brings out the best in people.
Beautiful, beautiful. This is very, very empowering. So, yeah, strive to be this person for others and strive to be this person for yourself. I hope this is going to be an inspiring week for you where you get to bring out the best version of you every day and maybe even achieve that with others. Uh, Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk to you. And make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure that you like the video and you share it with people that you might find this relevant. It was lovely to have you, and I look forward to seeing you on our next episode.
Bye-bye.